I told you we'd have some pullbacks in the silver market and the gold market, but that does not take away from the fact that we are still making history right now in the precious metals. We got a lot to cover today. Some news from the LBMA, a little inside insight from the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association. Even more exciting, we're going to talk about not one, not two, but three new sources of demand for gold and silver, even more focused on the silver side. It's fascinating. It really is a 1, 2, 3 punch. And we've got big news from another billionaire when it comes to silver. Before we get to all that, thank you for joining me here in the basement. The most important part is that you're here. It's a big deal when you give your time. Join us in the basement. I hope you feel like you found a little home away from home where we can talk about the precious metals. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell symbol, the notifier, whatever that means. Leave a comment in the comment section. We want to hear from you and we want to learn from you. Let's start by talking about one way that silver in particular is making history. And there's a big reason why we want to pay attention to this. Let's dig right in. It has to do with oil. But for the first time, we get a post yesterday from the CEO technician, directly from the CEO himself. I can't see the picture. Says this has never happened before in history. The silver price was higher than the crude oil price. That may have pulled off a little bit, but guys, this has never happened in history before. And when we look at this chart, right, we can see it very clearly, right? 1-to-1. Let me get the virtual crayons out. But the real important thing here, the real reason why we want to pay attention to this is because, like we've talked about so many times, those of us who maybe stack some silver or gold, is that you, right? That you want to count your metals as the number of ounces you have. Like we're so used to comparing it to dollars and pricing it in dollars. And I get it. I do it too, just like you. But really, the value of this, like this first mint year of the snake silver round, right, is an ounce of silver. We can compare it to dollars. Yeah, sure, it's worth 57.50 right now, if that's the unit of measure that we choose to use. But what if we decide to use a barrel of crude oil? I'd say that the price of silver is making history, right? You can now essentially, hey, congratulations. Go grab one of your ounces, run down to the Home Depot and tell them you want to buy a barrel of oil. But seriously, you can buy a barrel of crude oil with an ounce of silver or pretty close to it. But you can also compare it to things like how many loaves of bread, how many gallons of gasoline, right? Like right now with this, you could pretty much fill up a lot of cars with gasoline, an entire tank. Think back, and what this shows us, what's so important is that shows us that the value of silver in real terms continues to do better and better. Because that tank of gasoline that you can get with that 1 ounce of silver today, right? Maybe 5-10 years ago, you'd have gotten a quarter tank of gasoline. So what it shows us, whether we're comparing it to this historic event, that 1 ounce of silver can essentially buy you a barrel of crude oil or anything else you want to compare it to, that the value of silver continues to maintain. Okay. Speaking of which, I do want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mint. They have a Cyber Monday sale going on right now. You can check it out at their website. You know what? Let's run out there real quickly because of the support of our great sponsors like First Mint that we are able to get together down here in the basement. And there you go, firstmint.com. There's all the information on the Cyber Monday sale. That's on bars, $1 over spot. They got a number of other products as well. You can go to the store tab right here and check it out, right? Bars, rounds, accessories, and their Folds of Honor product line that they have also. We do have a discount code. It will not apply to the Cyber Monday sale, but the discount code, if you buy something else outside of the bars that are $1 over spot, is VIPRB. Very important person, Ron's Basement. We love First Mint. It's a premium experience from start to finish. The feedback you guys are giving me is so encouraging. I feel great about having them as a sponsor and how they're treating our community. Remember, they're owned by First Majestic, so the silver is signed and shipped to First Mint in Las Vegas, Nevada, where it's transformed into these awesome, unique silver bullion products and then directly to you. Thank you, First Mint, for sponsoring the basement and helping us all get together here. Now, let's talk about the LBMA. Philip Baker, he was the CEO of Hecla Mining, the United States, maybe the world's one of the largest silver mining companies for like 20 years. He was at the LBMA conference, and he has something very interesting, a very interesting observation. And we're going to dig into it deeper right now. And then we're going to talk about why this is so important. And don't forget, we got news from the billionaire and 3, maybe even 4, now that I'm thinking about it, massive new sources of demand for silver that could blow the lid off the silver price. But let's go out here to Philip Baker and hear what he has to say about his recent experience at the LBMA conference. This came from Mark on X. Mr. Baker said, quote, at the recent LBMA meeting, the consensus was physical is king. India's demand, right, was 60 million ounces, up from 15 million the prior year. He says, quote, that is the driver. The underlying price of silver above $45 to $50 is really coming out of India and physical demand and coming from all over the world. So let's listen to what Phillips has to say. This is a keen insight from somebody who was inside at the big LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, the big spot market for silver.
It was interesting. I was at the LBMA annual meeting, and the quote of the meeting was "Physical is king." And that's by the LBMA members that are saying that.
All right, listen to what he just said. Physical is king, not paper, not make believe, not fantasy island silver. Physical is king.
We're in a very different place than we've been in the last 20 years.
We're in a very different place than we've been in the last 20 years.
The only way silver comes back into the market that fills that inventory is it's coming from, large institutions, coming from family offices, coming from individuals. And it takes a lot of those to get mobilized in order to provide the amount of silver that's needed. And there's been a deficit now for 5 years.
Okay. Wow. That makes us all a little pumped up. Okay. This is a historic shift in the silver price because it's being driven by physical demand. You just heard what Philip Baker said from the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association. We know they've treated the silver and gold price so fairly over the last number of decades, but he's telling us in no uncertain terms that we are in a new market, right? Different than the last 20 years. And on top of that, he's telling us, right, the only thing that's going to fix this is going to be, my opinion only, don't make any financial decisions based on what I say, but it's going to be much, 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 much higher prices. Because think about it, the miners, they can't just flip a switch and start producing more silver, okay? And if we look back over the last 18 months, 12 months at the silver chart, let's go look at the silver chart right now. It has been, let's get it out of the way. Let's take our blood pressure medicine because today is a down day in the silver market. We're down $1. Oh my gosh. Now, 18 months ago, that would have been much more painful. Guys, this is part of the process. But here's what we're going to look at as we think about what Mr. Baker said. This is a 1-year chart. Do you see this pretty much steady increase in the silver price? When we get up here, right over, that's where we're going to be. What do you think the price will be? $300 per ounce. You can't see it all. Here, I can move this out of the way. Yeah, look at that. That's an ugly 300, but we don't care what it looks like when we get up there. It's been a steady progress on the way up. I would counter and not argue with Mr. Baker, but I would say that a lot of the people that were interested in getting out of silver, they did it about right here, right? At $40 an ounce. They did it right here at $43 an ounce. They did it. What we have here is not a spike up in the price, right? A spike that goes up usually comes right back down. We saw that happen in miniature form here. Still pulled back to the 55, 53 range. I'm more optimistic now than ever that we're going to set a new base in the silver price. At the lowest that we could go would be into the 52, 53 range. But just remember, a lot of people that wanted to get out of the silver market when the price hit 48 or when the price hit 52 or 54 have probably already gotten out. So maybe we go to $52 per ounce. Look, we could go lower. Don't make financial decisions based on what I'm saying, but I do have a record of being right like 64% of the time. I hope, how do you feel about this? But doesn't it feel like 52 is like the new floor for silver? It's going to be interesting, guys. And when Phillips Baker comes back from the LBMA conference and tells us that physical is king, Keith Neumeyer, the CEO of First Majestic Silver, say it 3 or 4 weeks ago, that what's different this time is that the price increase was driven by physical demand. And we know there's the deficits. We know that there's increasing demand and decreasing supply of silver. All right, I'll leave it at that. Let's talk about next 3 new areas, and there may be a bonus 4th area that could be massive movers, new money coming into silver and also gold as well. Before I do that, I do want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold. They're a development stage company with 2 huge multi-million ounce projects in Canada. They've had incredible news flow lately, right? But these are 2 big projects with gold in the ground in Canada. Springpole in Ontario and Duparquet in Quebec. And guys, the big mining companies, right, they're making a lot of money right now, right? The gold price is up, the oil price is down, and oil is generally one of the big miners' biggest expenses. But every time a big mining company mines an ounce of gold out of the ground, they got to replace it. They need to refill their supply pipeline. And there just aren't a lot of big development stage projects left in favorable jurisdictions like Canada. You can learn more about First Mining Gold at their website. Let's go out and take a quick look at that. And here we go. firstmininggold.com. If you have any questions, they've got the greatest investor services rep in the world, director of investor relations, Paul Morris. You can reach out to him, Paul, Paul, at firstmininggold.com. All right, let's talk about, we know we're going to focus a little more on silver, but there's an unbelievable story for gold as well. But one of the big key catalysts that we can look forward to, you and I, when it comes to silver, is when the rest of the people show up, right? When the other 98% of Americans, Europeans that don't own physical metals, that don't even pay attention, show up. And we have proof that is starting to happen. Look, you can call it the law of small numbers. When you only have 2, 3, 4% of the people that are investing in precious metals, if we go to 8 or 15 or even 20%, we're talking about multiples more money coming into precious metals. It could be massive, like 3, 4, 5 times as much money, which would indicate to us that we are still, and I don't know how you feel about this, but we are still in the early innings of the bull market for the precious metals. The bull market that went on in the 70s, the bull market that went on from 2001 to 2011, these can be decade-long events. And probably, I predict even longer this time. But let's look at some evidence that we have new encouraging signals that the other people out there, we affectionately like to refer to them as the The sheeple are waking up that they better start paying more attention to silver and gold. All right, let's go here first. Hold on 1 second, and here we go. All right, let's start here. We're going to start in the futures market of all places, and we got 3, and then I've got a bonus. It's going to get even better. Okay, a cherry on top. Who's buying up silver? Chicago Mercantile Exchange data reveals retail demand as dominant force. Very interesting. Okay, a surge driven by ordinary investors is creating waves in the global derivatives market. The latest trading data from the CME Group clearly shows that the core force propelling silver prices to record highs is not traditional institutions, but massive retail capital. CME data indicates a sharp increase in precious metals trading volume in November, primarily driven by micro contracts. So these are the new smaller contracts that came out in the futures market for silver and gold. That features they have lower barriers to entry and are particularly favored by individual investors. Average daily volume for those has been through the roof. So, number 1, right? Check. Retail is coming in with the micro contracts in the futures markets. But what about ETFs? Okay, and granted, right? I know a lot of you aren't big fans of the futures markets or the ETFs, but these do have major impact on the quote unquote price if we choose to use the dollar as the unit of measure for silver. So let's go see what's happening in the ETF market. And then wait, there is more. And don't forget, we're going to talk about the billionaire here in a little bit, but this comes from the Kobesi letter. Investors are rushing into the silver market. Physical silver-backed ETF holdings jumped by almost 16 million ounces in November. So the futures market is exploding on the retail side or going up. Now we hear that ETF holdings, 16 million ounce increase in the month of November. Year to date, silver ETF holdings have increased in 9 out of the last 11 months. There's another point that we're going to look at. Let's go over to this, which could be an even bigger wave. And then I'm going to tell you the fourth one as well. But this comes from Metals and Miners telling us that 90 million Americans don't even realize yet they just got the green light, 90 million Americans, to buy gold, silver, miners, and commodities in their 401ks. Wait until they do. A seismic shift is coming to the investment world. An executive order, and here it is right here, right? Democratizing access to alternative assets for 401k investors from the White House. Okay. A seismic shift is coming to the investment world. An executive order signed by President Donald Trump on August 7th has quietly laid the groundwork for what could be the single greatest catalyst for precious metals and the miners in a generation. Starting in 2026, the floodgates will open for trillions of dollars in 401k retirement accounts to pour into alternative assets, including commodities like gold, silver, and the miners. Guys, look, and I am going to give you the fourth bonus. Hold on a second. Having some tech issues. I am going to give you the fourth bonus on top of that, but let's quickly review. Futures markets for silver going way up on the retail side, the micro contracts, silver ETF holdings, which, look, if we believe them, which some of you don't, there's some speculation otherwise, but up by what, 15, 16 million ounces of silver. Okay, that silver, in theory, and by law, is supposed to be there. Like if they issue a share in the ETF, they've got to have the silver in the vaults. On top of that, right, another massive source of demand, right? President Donald Trump signing an executive order that will make it easier for people to get invested into precious metals types investments. It's been like a ghost town in the world of silver and gold and the precious metal mining stocks for a decade or so. It's like all of a sudden there's a giant rave party. What do they call that? Burning Man? I don't know how you describe it, but imagine a ghost town that suddenly somebody discovers silver or gold and like millions of new people show up. That's what we have to look forward to. But I got more. I got one more. You may not like crypto. You may be skeptical of crypto. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. I happen to have changed my opinion on crypto, but nonetheless, right, the tokenization of silver and gold could be the fourth factor to throw. I mean, I'm telling you, this one could be as big as anything, right? The tokenization of actual physical silver and gold, right? We know that Tether is making Tether's the biggest crypto company in the world. They put out the USDT stable coin. That's the dollar stable coin that each token is backed by $1 US, but they're also into physical gold. And we've got moves coming from other companies in terms of tokenizing physical silver. So each token on the blockchain is absolutely represented by an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver, in the case of silver, in a vault. It could be absolutely crazy. It allows people to store the silver in the vaults of the crypto company, but use it in day-to-day transactions. Whether you agree with it or not, I understand, completely understand. If you're I don't hold it, I don't own it type person. However, it's exciting to realize that there are a lot of people, including a lot of people in the crypto world, that are very interested in the tokenization of silver and gold. So let's review quickly, see if you can remember with me, okay? 4 things we have to be excited about. The futures market, the ETF market, both going up in terms of volume. 401ks, potentially being able to have more access to silver and gold oriented investments, and the cherry on top, tokenization of the metals. It's super, super exciting. Now we're going to talk about the billionaire who made this massive news story you may have heard about a billionaire who made a multi-billionaire who made a big multi-billion bet on the silver market. Before I do that, I want to talk to you about something that can help you feel good. It's the holiday season. There's a charity that reached out to me that I really feel great about. I'm not being sponsored. I'm not being paid to talk about this, but the charity's name is Hope Walks. They help children all around the world that are suffering from a condition called clubfoot. Kids are born with a condition called clubfoot. We don't hear about it a lot if you're in the US or Europe, because usually it gets treated, and it happens in the US and Europe quite a bit, but it gets treated immediately. But in poor developing countries, it does not get treated immediately. And this charity helps treat children. Last year, they treated almost 20,000 children. There's almost, if I have my stats correct, 200,000 cases of clubfoot that occur on an annual basis. I met with the with the leaders of this charity. I feel really great about them. The best part is it only costs $500 for the entire treatment that a child born with clubfoot would need to correct things. And it makes a world of difference in their lives, their families' lives, everyone's lives. Again, right? I'm not getting paid to say this. It's just a charity that I feel really, really great about. And I know that a lot of you like to do nice things and nice things over the holidays. Let me pull this up. Just want to show you their website. You can go learn all about them. I mean, wow, that just popped up all the countries, but it's hopewalks.org. They're doing great work, and I would encourage you to please check them out. Now, let's talk about this billionaire. The billionaires, right? Who is it? David Bateman. We've talked about him, the guy that has 13 million? I don't know, a lot of silver. But this is somebody different, and somebody who garners massive, massive respect in the financial world. And that would be Paul Tudor Jones. See if I can get this pulled up for us right here. Here we go. This is getting a lot of attention in the investing world. Make gold great again. Put out this tweet. Paul Tudor Jones bought $1.9 billion in silver futures last week. Now, I want to clarify, from what I understand, that was notional value, meaning he didn't spend $1.9 billion, but he bought enough futures and our options to control basically $1.9 billion worth of silver, which is huge. Okay. His net worth is $8.1 billion. I confirm that. Interesting to see which billionaires are about to become trillionaires. And then again, he references David Bateman, right, who's the other billionaire who's bought massive amounts of physical silver and gold. And even King Kong 9888, super respected guy in the metals sector, put this out. Only one of the reasons PTJ also knew that China was buying. He smelled blood in the ocean. So Paul Tudor Jones knew that China was buying and smelled blood in the oceans. And this is the tweet that came out from Wall Street Silver. Very interesting. Now let's talk about, here, real simple. We got to talk about this one quickly. Bullion Star put this out, and it just hit me, right? We got to be reminded of the powerfully simple factors behind silver. The manipulators failed. Spot silver did recently hit new all-time highs, $59 per ounce, for one reason. Guys in yellow, they can't print silver. They can't print silver, period. Right? You can print money, you can print futures, Fantasy Island silver, deplane, all that great stuff. But at the end of the day, as we heard from Phillips Baker, as we've heard Keith Neumeyer say in previous interviews, this is a physical market right now. The physical demand is what's driving it, and you can't print physical silver. Real simple, real easy. Now, if you are, there's an interesting chart going around in the silver community right now, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. We're going to take a quick look at it because it shows the divergence between the price of physical silver and the price of the miners. And it's got to be corrected at some point in the future. So let's pull this up. We're going to look at this one. And this comes from Metals and Miners. Again, they come out with some great stuff. It says the Great Silver Divergence, and I'm on the wrong screen. Now you can see it. Sorry about that, guys. The Great Silver Divergence, a binary bet with very early Bitcoin level potential. Interesting. But there's the chart right there. In the red line on that chart is representative of the silver miners, while the blue line on the chart is the physical silver price. So as you can see, I'll explain this to you. There's a gap, right? In the past, the price of silver and the miners represented basically followed each other pretty closely. However, what we've had here over the last about 1 month in time is the price of silver shooting up, and the miners, they went down when the price went down, but they kind of stabilized there. This area right here, I'll make it in green. Okay. This area is the divergence that they're talking about. At some point, what we need to see is, right, either the miners go up and catch up with the metal, even though we've pulled back a little bit today, or which I think we don't want to see, because in the long run, the metals will lead the miners. That's always been a saying that I've heard, is that the metal would come down. Okay. Look, today's a red day in the precious metals, in silver in particular. Let's go out and take a look and see how gold's doing, because gold was doing much better. Hey, we're at $1.05 down only. And there we go. Now we got you. Do I have you? I don't have you. Hold on. We're going to go out and take a look right now. There we are. We are at the CNBC silver futures. This is the March contract. We're down $1.06, but let's go out to and take a look at platinum as well. See how gold's holding up. And here we are. Oh, gold is green. Interesting. Copper's down a little bit, less than 1%. Platinum and palladium down a little bit as well. But the gold market, $4,240 in the futures market. This is the February contract for gold. And yeah, look at that. We haven't looked at the gold chart for a while. Let's take a look. So again, this is the February contract. Let's look at that 1 year chart of gold. Absolutely. Wow. Even more of a steady increase in the gold price than we have in silver, right? Consolidated consolidations. There's a period of consolidation, from about April through August, and then another move up. Even if we consolidate here, we are in really good shape in the gold market, and that is just a beautiful chart. We're going to look at the 5-year chart. Let's pull that up. Come on, 5-year chart. We're waiting for you. There we go. Wow. I mean, when we look at this chart, I mean, we basically, going all the way back to 2021. Look how steady the gold price was. Right? What a solid foundation was built, probably right around 2000. I remember that was before we took the blindfold off the gold bear. But again, look at that increase. Just grateful for. Speaking of that, let's go back to the 1-year chart. Let's go back 1 year today when we were down here in the basement. Guys, 1 year today, we were sitting at a gold price of $2,660. Today, we're sitting at a gold price of $4,241. Let's do the same with silver before we bid farewell. And gold, looks like the Dow's down a little bit. There's silver. And we're going to look at the 1-year chart of silver. And let's make believe it was 1 year ago right now. What would that be? December 4th of 2024. We had a silver price of about $30 per ounce. Okay. And remember, right, when we sat down here and said, silver, $30 an ounce, silver's a great value. Silver's a wonderful thing. If we had told each other, you had told me that we would be at $57 silver 1 year later, which coincidentally would have been today, right? We would be overjoyed with where we are. We got a lot to be grateful for. Hey, I really appreciate you joining me. One more quick thing before we go. If you're looking for, let me get this, a great Christmas gift idea. Dirty Man Safe has been helping out the channel for over a year now. I've actually got one hanging. Where is it? Oh, there it is right there with Ron 10. There's a discount code at Dirty Man Safe, but a great holiday Christmas gift idea for anybody that's into stacking or anything they may want to bury in their yard, like the pirates did. You bury these things in the ground. This is their new crypto micro version. This tube gets buried in the ground. This goes into the tube, and this cap goes on top, and then you cover it with earth. You know where it is. Maybe you put gold in there. Maybe you put silver in there. I don't care what you put in there, but whatever you do put in there is going to be safe from fire, flood, thieves, everything else. So if you're interested, please go out, check out Dirty Man Safe, and don't forget the discount code RON10, and I always have a link to them in the description. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Don't worry about the downdraft and the silver price, okay? I'll get worried, and I'll share it with you if we get anywhere below 52, but I think we've got some real super bright days ahead. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. But most important, I want you to have a great day, and I will see you, yes, you, next time. Thank you.